Time now for The Real Estate Connection with Stephen Theard, a realtor and certified probate and real estate specialist. Whether you're a first-time homebuyer or a seasoned investor looking to downsize, move up, or refinance, this program is for you.
Our house in the middle of our street. Something tells you that you've got to in the middle of our...
From probate sales to landscape design to home repairs and maintenance, this is your weekly look into all things real estate. Now your host for The Real Estate Connection, Stephen Theard.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Real Estate Connection, brought to you by Good Patriot Realty, a salute to home ownership. Hey, I want to thank you all for joining me today. I really appreciate the time that you spend with the podcast, whether you're listening to it live or listening to it recorded. We really do appreciate your support. And if you have any real estate related needs or questions, give me a call, Stephen Theard, at Good Patriot Realty at 408-472-0817. Again, 408-472-0817. And if you don't want to miss another episode, let me see where I have my podcast graphic. There you go. Check us out at Apple Podcasts. Just download or go onto the internet and log in and search for The Real Estate Connection. Better yet, just put in my first and last name, Stephen Theard, and you will not miss another episode because it'll let you know every time a new one gets uploaded and posted. You can also find us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Podbean. And so just go ahead and sign up for receiving those notifications, and you can just go into the library and listen to all sorts of content. Wow, we've done shows on all sorts of stuff, from first-time home buyers, ways to save money on buying your first home, from getting your house ready for sale, dealing with market dynamics and changes in the industry. I mean, we've covered all sorts of topics. I have well over 100, 120, maybe even 150 podcasts. So just peruse through the library, and I'm sure you can find something that you have a question that I've already answered. We've even done a whole entire podcast on air conditioning and where it came from. That was really informative for our engineer geeks out there who want to know how everything works. So anyway, without any further ado, we're going to jump into understanding title insurance. Now, this seems like a really obscure topic. However, if you've ever purchased a home or ever sold a home, you have paid for title insurance, and you may not have really understood what that was or why you need it. So we're going to deal with that mystery today and put it in layman's terms so that everyone can understand why exactly you are paying for an insurance policy on the title of a property that you are buying or selling. And it's really important, not only to you, but also to the person issuing a loan on the property you are buying. So if you're buying it for cash, then it's just for yourself. But if there's a lender involved, which I would say 85% of all real estate transactions involve some sort of loan from a bank, lenders absolutely want to have a title insurance. So this article comes from the Land Title Association. It's also on my website at goodpatriotrealty.com. And when the podcast is over, I will put a link onto that page so that you can either listen or read. It's really a pretty short read and pretty understandable. So I'm just going to go through what the article says. So what is title insurance? They say newspapers refer to it in the weekly real estate sections, and you hear about it in conversation with real estate brokers. Well, I'm going to debunk that. I haven't seen too many newspapers talk about title insurance, and I've been in lots of conversations with real estate brokers and real estate agents, and we really don't talk about it that much, thus why I am doing a podcast on it. However, if you've ever purchased a home, you may be familiar with its benefits or may not, because even myself, purchasing more than one home in my lifetime, I've dealt with title insurance and didn't necessarily understand what it was. And even being in the business for 19 years of selling real estate, we always make sure that it's there, but unless there's something wrong with the property, we really don't get into the details of title insurance too much, unless you're upgrading your license from a real estate agent to a real estate broker, or you're dealing with land that may have issues attached to that title, such as easements, and that's a whole nother podcast. And so remind me, ding ding, where's the triangle? Remind me in an email or a comment somewhere to do a program on easements, because wow, that's a whole issue that touches real estate all over the place. And I'm going to digress. So when you purchase a home, one of the most expensive and important purchases you'll ever make, you and your mortgage lender will want to make sure that the property is indeed yours and that no one else has a lien or a claim or an encumbrance on the property. An encumbrance means there's something attached to the property that's going to affect whether or not you own it without anybody else having some sort of claim to it, or some sort of lien against it, or some sort of ownership right to use it besides yourself. Or you're aware of it and you're okay with it, right? And the title company is okay with it as well, and they're going to give you insurance. So this is really important to make sure that no one's coming back from somebody's aunt or uncle 3 times removed that said, you know, when Aunt Josephine died 10 years ago, she promised that I could have a 1/4 acre of this land, and she wrote it to me on a napkin. And therefore, I'm coming back and saying I own part of this property and it's not all yours. That's an issue. That's a real issue, because then all of a sudden you're not in control of all of your property that you just paid for. So this is why we have title insurance. All right. So this article is written by the Land Title Association, and they're going to answer questions frequently asked about an often misunderstood line of insurance, title insurance. All right. So title insurers work to identify and eliminate risk before issuing a title insurance policy. So what is the difference between title insurance and casualty insurance, right? Casualty insurance companies realize that a certain number of losses will occur each year in a given category. So it's casualty insurance. We're talking about auto insurance, where you might have a casualty from a car wreck, or fire insurance, where you may have a casualty from a fire in a house or somebody getting hurt in the house, right? And casualty insurance companies collect premiums monthly or annually from the policyholders to establish a reserve of funds in order to pay for expected losses. So what you're basically doing is you're just putting money in the bank with these casualty insurance companies, so that when something happens, you have a pile of cash that's been stored up with many other people that you can access to pay for any loss that you may occur from either a car accident or fire insurance or life insurance, right? So those are casualty type policies. Title companies work in a very different way. Title insurance will indemnify you against loss under the terms of your policy. But title companies work in advance of issuing your policy to identify and eliminate potential risks, and therefore prevent losses caused by title defects that may have been created in the past. Thus, the guy that shows up knocking at your door with this piece of paper from dear old Aunt Josephine that says, hey, I bequeath to you 1/4 acre of the 5 acres that you just bought. He's knocking on the door going, hey, I own part of this land. It's not all yours. Title insurance ensures that if that happens, they have legal attorneys that are going to back you up to fight this case. But up front, they're going to make sure that there aren't any issues to the best of their ability. Now, there always are going to be certain things attached to your land that you have to deal with. Number one is going to be property taxes. All right, property taxes. That's a lien against your property forever. as far as I'm aware of. I don't know of any jurisdiction within the United States of America that has a property tax attached to a home that never goes away. So, sidebar, real quick, just so that you know, when you buy a house, you get a loan most times, or you pay cash, and you're paying off that loan and you're owning more and more of a percentage of that house over time. Eventually, you pay that loan off and you own it outright. Now, with a home and land, it's different from a car and a car loan. When you get a car and a car loan, when you pay that off, you're done. There's no property taxes associated with your vehicle. Now, you may have to register it in order for you to use the roads, but if you don't use the roads and you have your car on your own land, there's no taxes, right? You own it outright. Not the case with residential real estate or commercial real estate around the United States of America. The counties have taxes that are a permanent lien on your property. And even if you pay off your house, you still have to pay these property taxes. And if you don't, the county can take your house from you. So, who owns your house? Question of the day. All right, so think about that, fam, as we go through the rest of this title insurance article. So, title insurance also differs from casualty insurance in that the greatest part of the title insurance premium dollar goes towards risk elimination. Title companies maintain title plants which contain information regarding property transfers and liens reaching back many years. So it's basically a database. A title plant is a database. Maintaining these title plants along with the searching and examining of title is where most of your premium dollars go to when you're buying title insurance. So, who needs title insurance? Buyers and lenders in real estate transactions need title insurance. Title insurance. Both want to know that the property they are involved with is insured against certain title defects. Title companies provide this needed insurance coverage subject to the terms of the policy. The seller, buyer, and lender all benefit from the insurance provided by title companies. So this begs the question, what does title insurance insure? All right, I would say, what does it cover, right? Like for like if you have home and fire, right? What does your insurance policy cover? Does it cover your jewelry, or does it cover your furniture? Does it cover plumbing, right? You read the details in all of your casualty insurance policies, especially with your car. You know, how much does it cover for medical issues? Does it cover the complete replacement of your car if it's brand new? Or does it just cover a percentage of the fair market value? All these things you need to know when you're purchasing insurance. The same thing goes with title insurance. What does it insure? So here's the answer. Title insurance offers protection against claims resulting from various defects as set out in the policy, which may exist in the title to a specific parcel of real property effective on the issue date of the policy. For example, a person might claim to have a deed or lease giving them ownership or the right to possess your property. Another person could claim to hold an easement giving them a right to access across your land. Yet another person may claim that they have a lien on your property securing the repayment of a debt. Mechanics liens are the number one type of lien that you would find outside of property taxes, where maybe you hired a contractor, got in a dispute, didn't fully pay them. They felt like they needed to be paid in full. And so what they go and do is they file a mechanics lien at the county against your property for full payment for the contract services that you guys are in dispute over. And then you forget about it years later and go to sell your property. And the title company goes, hey, some dude or some person or some company is saying that you owe them $10,000 for a bathroom remodel that you never paid them on, and this is attached to your property, and we can't sell it unless you take care of it. That's the number one issue that we see that's very common, is a mechanics lien. So that would be something that would affect the ability to transfer title. Another one that is very, very common right now is solar. So everybody's going solar, and this is my advice to you: buy it. Do not lease it. Do not buy a power purchase agreement. Do not get into a specific rate, because what happens is these companies will come out and put their solar panels on your house, and they still own the equipment. And so they put a lien on your property for the value of the equipment, so that when you go to sell your house, if the new buyer does not sign on to this program that you signed up for, they will either enforce it in one of two ways: force you to buy out the rest of the length of the contract, or pay for the equipment as part of the transfer. The other way is whoever's buying the house just goes, okay, whatever deal that you made with XYZ Solar Company, we agree to, and we're going to sign on the dotted line and move forward with that too. But it causes an issue in selling your house, because there's a lien on your property that affects transferring the title or ownership of the house to somebody else. So beware of solar. If you're going to get solar installed on your house, make sure you purchase it. And if you're not going to purchase it, make sure you're dealing with a big, reputable solar company that's been around for a long time, and ask them if they have a department that full-time does the transfer of liens from one owner to the next in the sale of real estate. Because some of these smaller solar companies don't have a person that does this full-time. And when you go to sell your house, you're like, I need to transfer this lien over to a new owner, and you're trying to find out how to do it, and there's nobody at home. Hello? Is anyone there? Hello? Can I transfer the title of my house? Sorry, sir. Our guy is on vacation for a month. You're going to have to wait. No bueno. Do not get trapped in that. All right. So this can happen to any type of property, whether it's an empty lot or a 50-story office tower. Title companies work with all types of real property. Now, what types of policies are available? Title companies routinely issue two types of policies: an owner's policy, which insures you, the home buyer, for as long as you and your heirs own the home, and a lender's policy, which ensures the priority of the lender's security interest over the claims that others may have in the property. So, what protection am I obtaining with my title policy? A title insurance policy contains provisions for the payment of legal fees in defense of a claim against your property which is covered under your policy. It also contains provisions for indemnification against losses which result from a covered claim. A premium is paid at the close of a transaction or the close of escrow. There are no continuing premiums due, as there are with other types of insurances. So give me 2 seconds. I'm going to let my poor dog out, who's trapped in my office as I'm doing this podcast, as I believe she wants to get out of this office. So I'm going to open the door real quick and let my dog out. All right. Now we're back. Actually, I should say our dog. It's a long story. We'll get into it another time. All right. So, next question. What are your chances of ever using your title policy? In essence, by acquiring your policy, you derive the important knowledge that recorded matters have been searched and examined so that title insurance covering your property can be issued. Because title companies are the risk eliminators, the probability of exercising your right to make a claim is very low. However, claims against your property may not be valid, making the continuous protection of the policy all more important. While a title company provides a legal defense against claims covered by your title insurance policy, the savings to you for that legal defense alone will greatly exceed the one-time premium. So what they're basically saying is you're going to pay a one-time upfront premium, but if somebody comes against you later on and says, "Hey, I've got a claim," you've got legal protection that is going to back up your claim on the property because the title company has said title's clean and we insure it. There's no other issues related to anybody coming against your ownership. So if somebody shows up, their insurance policy says we're going to defend you in court or defend you legally. All right. The last question is, what if you're buying the property from someone you know, right? You may not know the owner as well as you think. That's the answer. People undergo changes in their personal lives that may affect title to their property. People get divorced, change their wills, engage in transactions that limit the use of the property, and have liens and judgments placed against them personally for various reasons. Again, a mechanic's lien. I've just recently seen this on a title report where there's back due child support from a person who owns the property. Well, in many states, if you owe child support and you haven't paid it, the county that's administering this child support order will put a lien on your property for your backdated child support, so that when you go to sell the property, whatever money that you get has to pay off that lien before the property can be sold or transferred to the next person. Now, generally speaking, the first in line is always the lender. So this is where you can get in trouble. Say if you owe $100,000 on your loan and your house is worth $100,000, but you have, say, $5,000 or $10,000 in back due child support, and you want to sell your house, well, you can sell the house and pay off your loan because they're going to get paid off first, but then you don't have enough money to pay off the lien for the child support, and the child support agency is not going to let go of their lien, and that'll stop you dead in your tracks from being able to sell your house unless you can pay that lien. It's like when you're young and you're driving around and you don't have a lot of money, but you're having fun in your fast car and you're running around and you get a couple of speeding tickets, but you don't have a good job and they're kind of expensive and you forget about them, you throw them underneath your bed or you file them in the back of your glove compartment box, and then all of a sudden you have to renew your driver's license. And you go down to the DMV and the DMV says, "Yes, we'd be happy to renew your driver's license, sir. However, you have some unpaid speeding tickets that need to be taken care of." And by now, they have penalties and interest attached to them. And so you're thinking, holy moly, I need to get to the court, which then you got to get a court date. You got to get into the judge. You got to plead for mercy. Hopefully he cuts down the fines so that you can pay them and pay to get your license or your registration, because you can't get that done if you have unpaid tickets. Liens are the unpaid tickets associated to your property. So be careful. Make sure you're paying off your contractors. Make sure you're paying your property taxes. Make sure you're paying off anything that could attach themselves to your house. Other areas that pop up that aren't fun to deal with also are unpaid income taxes. Now, this takes a little bit longer to happen, and most times the IRS works with people. But if you just say it's going to go away and turn your back on it, it will find you. It just happens because the tax man wants his money, and they will even tell you ahead of time, "Hey, we're going to put a lien on your house if you don't work something out with us." And so you have an opportunity to take care of it, but those are more rare. Usually, like I said, it's other stuff like an easement or property taxes are always there because they're always due, and it's normal. They get paid in the transfer. And mechanics liens, because mechanics, that's their only recourse when people won't pay them. So they'll attach a lien to your house. So be careful on who your service providers are that you choose. Make sure you've worked it out. Make sure that everyone's happy at the end of the job and everyone feels like they've been paid. All right. So back to this question. You don't always know truly a person and what's going on in their life all the time. And so it's always good to get the title insurance, even if you know a person, because the title company will do all the legwork for you and check everything out to make everything's good. So you have peace of mind at the end of the day that when you purchase the home truly is in your name, and no one else is going to come around saying that you need to pay them off in order for them to go away. So that's it. This article is brought to you by the Land Title Association, and it's already on my website at goodpatriotrealty.com. And I will link the podcast to the website so you can either listen when you click the link, or you can read the article, whichever one you choose, because you have choices. And so I'm opening up my drawer to grab my trusty coin here. And I want to leave you with this. Oh yeah, one more thing. If you don't want to miss another podcast, check us out. Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. You can look me up, Stephen Theard, Stephen, Stephen. And the last name is Theard, T as in Tom, H as in Henry, EARD as in David. You can go to any one of those platforms and type in my name, and the Real Estate Connection podcast will pop up, and you can subscribe. Or you can contact me directly at info@realestateconnectionradio.com. That's info@realestateconnectionradio.com. Or just go to the website, goodpatriotrealty.com, goodpatriotrealty.com. There's a way for me to contact. You can contact me through the website anytime you want, goodpatriotrealty.com, and just put in the subject, sign me up for the podcast, and I will make sure that it gets done. And if you have any real estate related needs or questions related to residential real estate here in Northern California, give me a call at 408-472-0817. Again, 408-472-0817. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have. And so on the way out the door, I'm going to leave you with this. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. If you have any questions about title insurance, I've dealt with a couple of things in my 20 years, and if I don't know the answer, I can find people who do. So God bless you. God bless the United States of America, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Real Estate Connection, brought to you by Good Patriot Realty, a salute to home ownership.
This has been The Real Estate Connection with Realtor and Certified Probate and Real Estate Specialist Stephen Theard. Licensed Cal BRE number 0170019. For more information on this program, visit realestateconnectionradio.com. To contact Stephen directly, call 408-472-0817 or email info@realestateconnectionradio.com. And be sure to tune in next week at this time for The Real Estate Connection.